In this video, we're going to talk about the uranium market. Today, we saw a big sell-off in a lot of uranium stocks. We saw the spot market in uranium really take a dive the past couple days. I'm going to talk about that. I know exactly what's going on. There's nothing to worry about. I'm still very bullish about uranium, and I even bought another uranium stock. So I'm going to go over that stock, but first hit that like and subscribe button below for this Friday video. Hope you have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. I'm going to jump right into it. Spot uranium actually right as the market closed. Of course it would. They dropped spot price down to about $42 on the bid, and the ask is about $44. And I keep this updated, so we pretty much have the uranium price in the spot market, right as it happens, right as they tweet it. So we saw a pretty big drop. That's 42 bucks, and we were at 47. What about 47.25 the other day? So. That's how quickly the uranium market can move, the spot market. Now, we saw a massive drop in one particular stock today, Forum Energy Metals, which used to be called back in about the uranium bull market 2007, Forum Uranium. So hopefully they rename their stock Forum Uranium. That would be better, I think. But the stock, this is the one I actually bought today. It had dropped about 30% today when I first started buying it, and we closed up it was about 26.25 cents, I believe. Now it actually went back up to about 28 cents, but we just had such a gap down on this stock. And this is one that had been on my radar, and the market cap is still very small, 53 million. There's not very many uranium stocks out there that are still under 50 million, or really under 100 million. Not very many out there that are actually worth, taking a look at, that are actually, active with active management. This is one of them. And this stock is also in a very, very good location in the Athabasca Basin. Now, if you just look at the chart here, they did have a split, a 1-to-15 reverse split. So obviously this was not the price in 2011. You got to divide that, and there's been dilution since, but there's about, the flow is still not very massive compared to a lot of the uranium stocks out there. Even though the stock has dropped a good amount, we're still seeing record volumes here today. Actually, if you look at this, is the OTC ticker FDCFF. Today's volume selling was pretty much the record that we've ever had in this stock. You can visually see that, and that's why the big drop. Now, if you really want to look at it, basically, a lot of people are saying that there's some specific newsletter writers that wanted to sell half their position, and I'm fine with that. That's cool. The reason I wasn't in this stock, there's plenty of stocks out there in the Athabasca Basin that I've covered, Fission, that I think have really big upsides. This stock has a good amount of properties there as well, but they're also in a lot of other type of commodities. So that's one reason I didn't jump right into it last year when it was on my radar. And at the beginning of this year, a lot of people started talking about it. People asked me to cover it. This was not one that I thought would be running as much as some of the other ones. Like I said, Fission and UEXCF. I think they have a little bit better upside, but the market caps on those are a lot bigger. So when we have something like this and we have an opportunity, a 30% drop in a day that I think is, it's just people selling, because obviously if people are following other people's trades, that's a lot of, that's a lot of selling pressure, 7 million shares. Yes, it's not, because the stock's, 30 something cents Canadian. It's really not that much volume. I mean, it is, but in the whole scheme of things, a couple $1 million, that's not, depending how much people bought, it's not really that much. Even though it made the stock drop pretty big, meaning, you see a lot more traded volume in something like Denison, which this stock is no Denison, obviously, but the stock someday could, if they have a big record find, do really good runs, especially where they're at $50 million market cap. They have a bunch of uranium projects there in the Athabasca Basin, and 67,000 hectares of land. And a lot of their projects, if you notice here, they're in really good locations. They're near a lot of big deposits. So as a uranium explorer, that's obviously what you want to do. You want to be exploring in a good location. It's really the best location in the world for the high grades. And, it's got great management. We're going to just do a real quick recap kind of on the stock. I did buy 300,000 shares today. I put in a bid for 400,000, but the extra 100,000 did not fill. So I'll try next week. Like I said, if you see when I see a massive drop 30% in a day on a uranium stock, and there's no crazy reason for it other than someone wants to sell and a bunch of people are selling because of that, it's really not, it's a no-brainer for me to buy. I do like this chart here. This is literally, a lot of times I try to explain to people, they're an explorer, they're in this early stage. So there is big upside when they begin exploration, if they find anything. And you want to be in a stock like this, a mining stock, especially in uranium, when the uranium bull market starts. So management is very aware of this. They are in other metals, other assets that they can explore as well. As we saw up here, 30 million for the copper exploration. They've got really big, they're working with really big companies, as you can see here, Chemico, NextGen, and Rio Tinto. So this is still, a very, very early stock. It's very speculative, but it does have a good, management team, and it does have, a history. Now, even though the, stock has been diluted since, they had the reverse split, I believe it still has a big upside. There's a lot of uranium explorers out there that are trading, 2-3 times what this is trading at via market cap wise, that I would consider, similar, especially with, the amount of upside that this could have. But I do like this stock, and I think this is the perfect time for me to get in a position, the best location in the world for uranium. I'm just going to skim over this really quickly. As you can see, management's very, on presentations, I like, management to look like they actually have a good, geologist team, and they do. And, they've got good, good targets, good exploration upside, like I said before, and they're in the best location. So really, in uranium stocks, a lot of these, stocks, everything is really forward looking. People really want to invest in a stock that has big upside. You see those stocks usually do better, and this stock really could at these prices, $50 million market cap. Who's to say? I think when we see $200, maybe even $100 uranium, we're going to start to see a lot of explorers run, $300, $400, $500 million in their market caps, especially if they begin exploration. They find, they have really good results. They find any big deposits. And this is one that really could. A lot of times, a lot of uranium stocks in the last bull market in uranium, they really never got a mine going. It was all this, story about, can they find the next big deposit? And that's really why the stocks ran last time. Now, you don't find a lot of stocks now in uranium under, like I said, $50 million market cap, around that, because a lot of them people are already speculating, they're already buying in. So when you get a big group of investors that sell out because they want cash, which a lot of uranium and talking heads today, this Friday, have been saying that they're raising cash. A bunch of them, just YouTube or Twitter, you'll see this. A bunch of people that have been talking about uranium have been selling positions. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think this is the perfect time to be buying, is when everyone else is selling. We're starting a uranium bull market. There's some really big things. We just hit a record, in the stock market today, and I think even though I have raised cash myself, and I'm heavy cash, for the most part, I think that we're still going to see a very big upside in uranium. I think just because spot has dropped does not mean that the long-term price in uranium will not go up. It does not mean that the spot market can't gap up next month. It's a very speculative game right now, investing in uranium stocks, but the spot market is being somewhat manipulated on both sides. At the end of every month, you usually see selling off in the spot market to get the price down, and you can see that month in, month out. And October, it's no different. That's what we're seeing right now. And then added on top of that, you get a lot of uranium talking heads, either talking bad about other companies. I've seen that in the past couple days, or saying that other companies are not going to do well. I've been seeing, people selling out completely of their position that were pro uranium. And, I've seen people like in this stock saying that, newsletter writers saying that they're looking to close half the position. So you're starting to see, the overall market was, like I said, red today in uranium. And pretty much, if you look at this, it was the leader in the drop today. All these that are red here, this was the, just today's percentage. You go down, anything that really was trading with volume was red today. There were very few, usually any of them that were green was like Centrus, they're on the field development type side, the HALU. So, a lot of these stocks, unless they didn't have any volume, which a lot of these, these red ones, a lot of them usually don't have volume. So, it's an easy day for me to buy in a new stock, especially that has been on my radar for a while. People ask me to cover it. This isn't my massively in-depth covering of the stock, but this is from 2007. So I believe this was their, let's see, this was back when they were, no, that's not the one. This is 2007, sorry. So this was how many shares they had back then. So we're looking at about triple the shares. And then 2011, when it started to run again, they have about not too far away of the shares that we have now. So I think, just because we're in a totally new, uranium bull market, we could easily see, $1 plus in a stock like this just on speculation alone. So, at what are we at? 20 something cents today, 26 cents. It's a definite buy for me. There's a massive gap to fill, a big gap here that we're going to need to fill up. And I think that uranium's just getting started. We're seeing record inflation coming. There are truckers out there that are posting. I tweeted about this earlier today, that a trucker actually that has been 20 years in the trucking industry, basically saying that, and gave their lowdown. It's in this right here, and they basically said that we're going to continue to see this crazy shortage, and that why it's not going to end here in America because of the shipping issues. And it's really has to do with the way truckers are quitting. They're not getting paid hardly anything. It's a lot like uranium producers. They're very similar. The margins are basically not there. They don't have the chassis to deliver the things. Everything's already backed up, and really they're just sounding the alarm, saying that prices are going to skyrocket. And then when that inflation rises, we're going to see energy prices go up. We're going to see uranium. That's when I think the spot market in uranium, it's just going to gap up, and then utilities are going to come in and they're going to contract really high because they're going to be worried. And we also saw in this tweet earlier, Kevin Bambro, you've seen him before. He's talked about uranium. He was actually saying this as well. That's another thing. He's got a lot of people probably following him, looking at him. He's been saying that he thinks the spot market's going to go down. And what do you know? It did today. It did go down. It's nice. It's nice to be able to buy these dips in the uranium stocks, especially, for new people getting in. But long term, I think that really, like we said, the spot market, it's very manipulated on both sides. All we really need to know is, when are we going to get those long-term contracts? And I'm continuing to monitor that, and I will be buying dips on a lot of these uranium stocks if we get any more dips. I'm still very bullish on uranium. We'll see how the uranium market is going to react next week. This was a pretty big drop, right at the end of the day. I think a lot of people were kind of already worried. They were already listening to people like Kevin Bambro. And obviously these newsletter writers, a lot of people on here were saying that, they think that it'll be like a week or so before a lot of the people following these newsletter people are going to end up selling out. And depending if they literally sell out of everything. But really, to me, it really doesn't even matter. I don't really care about that. I'm a long-term investor in uranium. I don't care if talking heads are selling uranium stocks, if they say that uranium's not going to, go over to $100. I totally believe uranium is going to be $100 plus next year. And, sooner or later, I think we're going to see $200 uranium. I think that inflation is coming. I do have a good amount of cash to buy these dips. I think that the overall stock market We're beating record highs right now. A lot of that is because people foresee inflation coming. So the stock market is a good place to put money, instead of just having cash to be able to invest in a stock like, Forum today. When I invested in it, it's up like 10% since. So we closed, a few cents up. And when you get a massive drop like that, the upside is a lot bigger. Just to get back to even, it's 40 something percent on a 30% drop. It's like 43%. You got to get back just to break even to yesterday's price. So, it's nice. What, 10% in a day? That's what you're going to see in uranium stocks. And when we see these spot movement go back up, these stocks are probably going to correct and gap up the other way. So, it's a great market to be in long term, but it's also a great market to swing. So let me know, you guys, do you think that Forum's a good company? I'll cover it deeply in a future video. And management did actually contact me and see if I wanted to interview them, give them my 10 to 15 tough questions I do looking for 100-bagger stocks. You've seen me ask those before to some good uranium management. So we'll see how they do. I'll probably email them. I really do think that it's big upside on the uranium stock, and I like to be early in a stock that's a $50 million market cap, because I think a lot of uranium stocks are going to see $1 billion plus. We're seeing, these cryptocurrency coins that are worth literally nothing trade at 2 times the uranium market combined, and this is something that we'll probably see money start to flow over into commodities when we start to see inflation and, people are wanting to shift around funds into something that's less, has not ran as much, which uranium hasn't. We've got such a massive upside just to get back to break even. So these utility companies can actually make somewhat of a profit. These producers, utility companies, they're doing fine. They'll just pass that, price on to consumers. It's really not that much of an increase too. We're already seeing that. You're probably paying more, per month on your phone bill increase than you'll probably even see, long term on, overall, because there's going to be an inflation, in everything, your food prices, everything. So it's going to be in the energy bill as well. And uranium has got to move up if we want future production to start back up, and if we want to have a cleaner carbon neutral future. So guys, hit that like and subscribe button below. Have a safe weekend. It's Halloween weekend, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting when uranium finally starts to break out over $53. When we start to see $60+, it's going to happen fast. These are the times you want to buy. You don't want to be selling. And hopefully you guys like this video, and stay safe until next time.